we're going to start in the first presentation outline today with Sprint, and this is a book, y'all, that will take an idea from conception to implementation in 5 days. But you have to follow the prescriptions of the book exactly to get it done. It is a visual-oriented book. I could not possibly attempt, so I didn't, to represent all these diagrams, try to represent them, try to reproduce them. It is a very visual book because it is a visual technique that, interestingly, was written by people who work in Google Ventures. So they are high-tech people. But y'all, this is a low-tech technique. We're talking about whiteboards, markers, Post-it notes, things that you used to use in the mid-'70s to have a meeting. That's what they talk about here in this book. So what you see on your outline is the key image for the 5 days. This is what you do in the 5 days of Sprint to take the idea from conception to implementation. And it is, they've got a lot of, obviously, activities here. This is fast-paced. And so, since the book is fast-paced, I will also be fast-paced. And I'll try to give you the essence of what you do in these 5 days. But first, I want to tell you a story. This was a company called Savvy Oak. And what they did was, their business was to make robots. And what they wanted to do was to have these robots serve customers in hotels. So, for example, if you left your toothbrush at home, okay, you would call down to the front desk, and instead of someone bringing your toothbrush to you, what you got was a 3.5-foot tall cylinder, roughly the size and shape of a kitchen trash can. Its glossy white body had a flared base and an elegant taper. There was a small computer display affixed to the top, almost like a face, and the machine could move, and it glided across the floor under its own power. And so they did the prototype, they did the filming of people as they opened the door to have this robot there, and they were really amazed, like, what was going to happen. Would these people freak out, or what would they say, or whatever? And y'all, it was unbelievably positive. People loved it. They would call back down to the desk and say, you have a comb. They wanted to so 3 weeks later, the robots went into full-time service at the hotel. Stories in the New York Times, the Washington Post. Savvy Oak got 1 billion media impressions from this work, and they could not produce enough of these robots to meet the demand from hotels. And it was an example of a process that used Sprint, as was being talked about here. So the idea is that this works, as you see on your outline, with a big challenge. The bigger the challenge, the better the sprint. 3 things: high stakes, not enough time, you've got to figure it out in a few days, or if you're just plain stuck. And you see the quote on your outline that says that no problem is too large for a sprint, because what it does is it focuses your team on pressing questions and issues that make you implement. So even the founder and the key author of this book, Knapp, he was asked to work for the company called Graco, and they wanted to do a sprint for a new industrial pump. There was a machine that was going to be used in assembly lines. He said, an industrial pump sounds too complicated to prototype and to test in a week. Well, all that did was motivate these people to let's figure it out. When people tell you you can't do something, many people say, "We're going to show you what we can do," and that's exactly what they did. And if you can do this process with that complicated of a system, you can probably do it with just about anything. It's quite a book. If you're a visually oriented person and you're creative and you have 5 days, you will really enjoy this. It undoubtedly it works. I'm exhausted reading it, and I'm exhausted talking about it here as well. So I hope you enjoyed that synopsis of Sprint, how you solve big problems and test them in 5 days.